What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. As you can probably guess, this is going to be some Aristo content. We're having a little issue here. We've addressed this before. It is the brake master cylinder. The way that it works is like air over hydraulic, and mine's not acting right. So I got some stuff to remedy this, even though it is going to delete the ABS and make the traction control not really work right, but that's okay. We'll make the traction control work again, but using the Haltech once we start taking control of things like ignition. First off, I'm going to flip you guys around, let you guys check out the parts that I got. I'm not going to take credit for figuring this all out. There's a Facebook group for the JZS147s, and that's how I figured this out. So you use a hodgepodge of LS400 parts, an SC or Supra brake master cylinder, and then you have to tie all of the brake lines together for the front and the rear, because this did have individual wheel ABS, which is, again, it's going away. This is a fair weather car. That's what I need, is for this thing to stop puking brake fluid into the cabin and then down the frame rail, because it's wrecking things, and I'm tired of putting brake fluid in it, and the parts really aren't available to fix this thing at the moment. If I can figure out how to fix it, I might put it back in. We'll see. Probably not. After I do this whole deal, I probably am not going to want to deal with it anymore. But flip you guys around, let you check these parts out. Okay, so what you need to do is you're going to have to join the brake lines. These are Chase Bay pieces. They're the nicest ones that I've found. Billet aluminum, hard anodized black, -3 to 2 10x1 inverted flare. So these are technically, they sell these to do stuff like booster deletes and everything. They've got kits like that for Supras and for race car stuff or show car stuff. So you can need 2 of those, one for the front, one for the rear. Now these were what were available, but you need to get steel, 10x1.0 to -3. Also inverted flare to go onto the brake master cylinder. So 2 of those. And then you need 2 DOT brake lines. These guys, you see this. There's the part number for you. But these are 12-inch. I think they're 12-inch. Yeah, 12-inch DOT approved brake lines. So they're not just a standard line, but these are meant for brakes. So yeah, there's that. Those are the parts that you need to convert as far as the lines. This gets you set up. Now, you're going to need some other parts. One of the other things you're going to need, because this will be vacuum assisted now, you want this, which I had a spare. This goes in the top of the intake manifold and gives you a port. Luckily, right there is where it's supposed to go. So there's no drilling. But this is the booster. This is for an LS400. I got this from a guy parting a car out. So as you can see, it's just a stock booster. This is from a 97 to 2000. That's the big part, is you need it to be that. There was a part number on here somewhere. I'm not really sure where it is. But this is the one you need. 97 to 2000 brake booster. You'll need the check valve, the vacuum check valve, which I have from the SC over there. So the vacuum check valve, it allows it to hold pressure or vacuum in the booster, and then also it keeps pressure from going in. So it's a one-way valve, one-way check valve. So that's the booster you're going to be using. Like I said, you still need a master cylinder, which is on the car over there. But check out what I scored also. LS400 front calipers. And they even came loaded. They had pads. I probably replaced them with something that's like ceramic, low dust. This car isn't exactly like a race car, so I don't need anything super aggressive. But yeah, so we got these calipers. The guy was super great. Pulled these off along with this booster. Pistons all move. These are aluminum, so as big as they are, they're actually pretty light. I did spray them black. They didn't come like this, but they were in good shape. So whenever we do the LS400 brake upgrade, we're going to do the dust shields the right way. We're actually going to enlarge them. I'm going to bead roll some pieces. I'll cut the actual backing plates and dust shields strategically. This car has these great big scoops to scoop air right into the brakes, so I'm going to keep those. I don't want to delete them or you know, just pie cut them. A lot of people will just pie cut them. That's what I did on my original street car when I did that on my SC. But we're going to actually enlarge the brake, the actual dust shields the right way, so you guys get to look forward to that. I don't know when that's going to be, so sorry about that. I can't give you an exact time frame on that, but check out this whole deal. I already started getting it apart, but let's check it out. Okay guys, so here's the situation here. This is the accumulator that is charged with nitrogen. So instead of having vacuum to assist your brakes as a booster, it uses that. So it pumps fluid into that and then uses the nitrogen as your power booster. The problem is there's some seals in that are leaking nitrogen and forcing a little bit of nitrogen to blast through the system, and it actually blows brake fluid onto the floor like you've got a bad master cylinder. And I don't, supposedly this master cylinder stuff has been repaired or replaced before, but it's not working right. Whenever I took this apart, you can see I did get started. I did find some bolts that had definitely been touched and taken apart because there was some stuff that was loose. And I don't know if it was loose because this thing was cycling so much, but it's got to go. It's shooting brake fluid everywhere. Check out the inside of the car here. So as you can see, if I can get this to focus, there you go. So as you can see, it's just been like dumping onto the floor, and it's super gross. And you know, I've said before, I really want to detail this car. I've done a little bit, but I've started like really getting some stuff together to get those stains out and just really make the inside nice. But if it keeps leaking brake fluid, there's no point. So this has got to be fixed. I got all the parts. I found the guy that had done this exact swap on the Facebook group. He listed out the parts that he used. It was awesome. So I started just like bouncing around trying to like pick up parts here and there, and I finally got the booster and all the little fittings and everything like that. So I'm going for it. Yeah, so I'm gonna get this thing out. I'll show you guys what it looks like once it's out, and then we'll start putting things back together, and I hope that everything still is happy. Initially, I was going to film me struggling to get this thing out, but after I figured out how heavy it was, I didn't want you guys to make fun of me. Check out how big this whole unit is now that it's out, and it's heavy. It's very, very heavy, so be aware. This thing is massive, and it is super heavy, so it's basically what this whole thing does is it is the pump across the bottom. You got the accumulator, the actual master cylinder here. So this here is the master cylinder. The problem is it was leaking inside, and then it was leaking somewhere over here, down the side over here. I have one concern right now, and it is this. I need to figure out where my brake indicator actually goes, like my brake fluid level indicator wiring goes, because it's going to need to get plugged back in. I'm not sure if there's a jumper. I'm going to have to take some of this stuff apart to get to this, because I do want that to work. That's a safety thing to me. But look at all the wire gauge is at least, that's probably 12 gauge wire to run the pump and everything, but it was definitely leaking in more than one spot. I'm not dealing with that. Look here. Look how much more room. Look, a turbo. But you can see I threaded this in. I was originally going to try to kind of capture as much of the brake fluid as possible, but as of right now, my plan is just to get these on here, because I'm not really sure what the orientation is going to be, but I want to clean all of this. Okay, so brake fluid is water soluble, so that's something that, you know, we can like attack it with water and maybe a little bit of like solvent of some sort, maybe like I use spray power or simple green or something like that. Just, you don't want it to go all down into the interior like crazy, because it's just going to make this stuff spread even worse. And then it's going to be getting the new booster in. I've still got to disassemble the Lexus over there, but that shouldn't take but just a couple minutes. Man, this is a lot of work, but we're getting there. So there was a few things that I figured out. One big one that was not talked about with this guy's little write-up. It was a very brief write-up. So first of all, when I got everything tight, the brake booster had a lot of preload on it, which is not a good thing. It'll make your master cylinder stay pumped up. So you want it to have free play to where you can have some adjustment. The problem with that is this. Right here, you've got the rod that comes out of the booster into here, and this rod actually hits the brake pedal. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a 1/4 inch off of the rod to make it match the distance between here and the end of this rod, and then to space things out just a little bit to get you a little bit more adjustment, there's a large plate that acts like a firewall doubler, and I think that right there will give us a little bit extra room out. As you guys can see, this thing is really big. But yeah, so make sure you get all of your adjustments correct here so that everything works like it should. Like, basically I'm measuring from here to the end of the rod, and then I'll measure from here to the leading edge of the hole here, and get it close, and then I can do fine adjustments inside. But as of right now, like where the pedal slides into here, the rod on the LS400 Booster is too long, and it actually hits. So you can see where I have it adjusted in here, and that there's like threads sticking out. Well, that hits the actual brake pedal that goes down through here. Yeah, so I'm going to do some measuring, and then I'll do some cutting, and I'll show you guys what I did. Okay, got this guy in, cut a 1/4 inch off of the rod, and then used everything else, basically the adjustments all the way in. If you want to have more adjustment, what you can do is shave the nut down, but you see the adapters in there. The next thing is going to be this brake master cylinder. This is from a traction pump model SC300, which I didn't realize it had that. So initially the guy recommended like a 97, 98 Supra because it did not have the traction pump thing. So the reservoir is just normal. The other thing you guys could use is a non-traction control SC300. So like an earlier SC300 that would be 92, 93 era, and it won't have that either, the little looped line. So I just looped it. It should be fine. If I have any issues with it, I'll just change the reservoir to one of the newer reservoirs or an older reservoir, depending on what I can get my hands on. So there's a metal spacer that goes in between the firewall and the original pump, and you're going to need to reuse that, but there's a little tab on it, so you're just going to grind that tab off and then pop that on the LS400 Booster, and then you can get everything hooked back up. Before you bolt everything in, cut that brake booster rod. Right now it seems to be perfect. We checked it and made sure that everything seemed to be adjusted right, and yeah, got Dad helping me. He said everything looks like it's going to be perfect, and we're going to get the brake master cylinder onto the booster, and then tighten our adapters down. So they are a M10 by 1.0 inverted flare 2-3, both of those will then go over to the chase bay's little distribution block thing. So I'll show you guys after it's all installed.
This type.
All right, so here's the thing that we just figured out. If you see here, this has threads all the way to the end, and it goes into the inside of these adapters right here. This is the chase bay's -3 to 2 M10 by 1.0, and I thought the threads were messed up, but they're not, because this piece here goes right in it. Now, here,
I'm going to wipe this off for you so you can see.
So right there, you can see there's a shoulder.
Give me the other so we can compare it. Okay, look, you can say it again now.
There's a shoulder on that one, and there's not enough thread engagement to actually get it to seal up correctly, and it's going crooked and leaking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the end off of here and use these flares, or these nuts, these tube nuts, off of the SC300 that the master cylinder came off of. We're going to re-flare it, put it all back together, because that's not right. Something's
This is
up
the
here.
problem right here.
Right here. So there's not enough threads on the nut to
And
get
this is
everything
hitting,
straight.
This is also hitting in there before this can seal.
Right.
See?
Yeah. So
Yeah, you need threads
do
right
some
to the
work.
very end.
you got to do some work here, guys. We're going to redo this. I'm going to set a GoPro up. We're going to redo these lines, re-flare them, put the fully threaded tube nuts on it, metric tube nuts. That way we can still use these chase base pieces. But yeah, that's going to be a different day. I'm out of time, so I'll check back in with you guys. I'm going to set a GoPro up, let you guys see us re-flare it, do some time lapse. All right, well, came back this morning, made the vacuum line. You can see it back over here. You got your check valve, goes across the back, made a hard line, got a couple of P-clamps, goes into a standard banjo from a 1J that I had, a little rubber line so that the engine can still move around and everything without worrying about the line. Yeah, so we still have to re-flare these and get the other tube nuts on it so it works with the adapter that I ordered from Chase Bays. I've been in contact with him. It seems like I probably just ordered the wrong adapter, but these tube nuts here, if it'll focus right here, see they're threaded fully and they thread right in. So I got to cut those off, and then Dad's going to come down here and help me re-flare this line for those. Then hopefully, I'm really hoping that we can bleed the brakes super easy and don't have to pull the wheels and everything, because I'm supposed to get the car aligned in just a couple hours. So we're going to thrash. I'm going to get the interior back together. Apparently the battery is dead, so charging the battery. If I have time, probably not, I will do the whole oil change thing, but probably going to have to wait on that. So we'll see. Cutting it tight as usual. All right, so I think we got it. We're about 50 minutes from going to get the car aligned, but that's what it looks like down in there. After changing these fittings, those guys right there, the front brake line fittings needed to be changed, the tube nuts. Dad helped me re-flare them. There's still some wiring to be done, but that can be done later. It doesn't actually keep the car from driving, but you can see that's in there. Not bad. We started it up. It's got brakes. We bled everything. All right, so obviously we got some more stuff to do as far as to completely button this up, but standard brake booster is installed on the Aristo. We're excited. We're going to go for a drive out to Nicholasville to get this thing aligned. But yeah, so thanks for coming along with this journey, and I will see you guys soon. Got a lot of content coming.